Hi, you guys. My name is Natalie Louise. Welcome back to episode 6 of the New Day with Natalie podcast. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the avoidance concept of an ideal relationship. So if you've ever been in a relationship with an avoidantly attached person, you're probably like, well, I'm happy, or I know what I want in the relationship in order to be happy, in order to make this thing last long term. But if you've ever wondered what your avoidant partner needs and wants in order to be happy in a relationship, that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. If you are interested in one-on-one relationship coaching and you have a very specific relationship issue or situation where you need some advice, please feel free to book a one-on-one call with me, and I will link that in the show notes down below. Or if you're interested in email coaching as well, I have an option for that too. All right, let's jump right into the episode. I just want to preface and start this episode by saying that avoidantly attached people do want to feel love. They do want to be close to someone. They do want to feel that connection. It's just incredibly scary for them to open up and be vulnerable and be intimate with someone else. In order to do that, in order to open up themselves in a way that they've never really opened up before, they have to recognize their own pain. That in itself is incredibly uncomfortable. It's easier for them to drop you and jump ship and go to another partner and build another surface level relationship with someone else, because surface level relationships and hookups never require you to really dig deep and become vulnerable or intimate. The definition of a surface level relationship is essentially barely opening up, barely showing who you are, and not really forming these really deep connections. That is where the avoidantly attached person is very comfortable. So that's probably why you might fall into these different relationships with avoidantly attached people that last like 3 months or so, because they're jumping ship. They're basically dropping you. They drift away from you because they're ready to jump to the next person, because they're getting too deep with you and it's uncomfortable. So they're ready to jump. When they jump to the next person, it's another surface level relationship. They start over, which is what's comfortable for the avoidant person. If you want to understand why you keep attracting avoidantly attached people, or just understand the anxious avoidant trap, which is that 3-month cycle, then I would definitely recommend checking out episode 1, where I talk about the anxious avoidant trap in great detail. Let's get into the avoidance idea of the perfect, rosy, successful relationship. This is exactly what avoidantly attached people are looking for in a relationship, okay? And also, like, if you give these things to your avoidantly attached partner, they will feel safe, they will feel secure, and they will start to open up. And this is actually how you can make the relationship work if you're anxiously attached, okay? But I'll make another episode on that, like really digging into like how to make a relationship work with an avoidant person. But right now I just want to talk about the way that they see the world and what they want in a relationship. The first thing that avoidantly attached people absolutely need and want in a relationship is consistency, which is honestly ironic because sometimes the avoidantly attached person is anything but consistent, okay? But that is exactly what they want in order to feel safe and secure. During their childhood, they did not experience consistency from their caretakers at all, and that was extremely scary for them growing up, okay? In order to prevent themselves from feeling unsafe and feeling like that level of fear or just like being uncomfortable, they tended to control everything around them, their schedule, the people in their life. And so they never really had to rely on anyone else because they controlled everything. So they never had to feel that level of fear or that feeling of inconsistency or feeling uncomfortable because they controlled everything. Does that make sense? Which usually means they end up being by themselves all the time, because if you want to control everyone in your life, you want to control what everyone does in your life, then you typically don't have a lot of people in your life, you know? Like if you want your friends to show up at a certain time or you want your significant other to treat you a certain way, it's like you can't do that to an extent. Does that make sense? If you never really let anyone else into your life, or any like relationship, romantic relationships, friendships, work relationships, whatever it is, then no one can really hurt you, right? And if you're the only one in your life, then you can control yourself and you know you're not going to hurt yourself. So in their world, it's like this is the most safe thing. And this is what makes them feel happy, if that makes sense. When they initially met you, they might have started to develop a sense of trust towards you. And you might have felt that, but they never fully leaned on you. They never were like, okay, trust fell right into you. Like, I will trust you with everything, okay? Which is typically normal in a relationship. You shouldn't like trust someone 100% right away, but like depending on where you were in the relationship, they never really got to the full like I trust you level. Okay, they enjoyed knowing that you would always be there if something happened, but they never leaned on you ever. Okay, that's why they might reach out to you later, like down the road, a few months later, because they know that you are going to respond no matter what. Like they know your behavior, they know how you're going to act if they do something, okay? So if they break up with you and then they send you a text like 3 months later, like, hey, what's new with you? They know you're going to respond. So that's the level of consistency that they are looking for, and that makes them feel super safe. They don't trust you fully. Like they would never rely on you 100% like you might rely on them, but they know like they are seeking out this level of consistency so they can feel safe, okay? If you want the relationship to work, let's say you're anxiously attached, then it would be really important for you to show consistency to your avoidant partner. If you think about it, if you are consistent in your relationship, you're actually showing secure attachment qualities, okay? And like I said before, this is super ironic because avoidantly attached people are anything but consistent. They behave in a way that will protect themselves. They prefer people guessing, like, when are they going to show up in their life? When are they going to disappear? And they never like to get too close to people, never let anyone figure them out, because again, that makes them feel safe. It's like there's this barrier around them, and they feel like if anyone does figure them out, then they've become very like vulnerable and intimate. It makes them feel weird and uncomfortable, okay? So they're looking for consistency. Some ways that you can show up in the relationship to be consistent for the avoidant partner would be, let's say you guys have plans to like go on a date, or plans to go grab food, or just like come over to their place and just like hang out, okay? What you need to do is not flake. So if you have the plans and it's set in stone, show up, have a good time, do your thing. Don't be like last minute, oh, I can't go, like, I'm sorry, because that's going to freak them out, and then they're going to like withdraw and then just like be done with you, okay? Another example, if you guys text at a certain time of the day, like maybe after work, or, a certain day of the week, you jump on the phone or something like that, always show up during that time frame to text them or jump on the phone, like whatever it is, because it's going to like keep them calm and safe and secure, because they know they can rely on you. They know there's a level of consistency in their life, and they can lean on you if they need to. Does that make sense? So the avoidantly attached person is craving consistency in the relationship, even though they can't necessarily give that to you all the time, right? And remember, being consistent is a securely attached quality. If you decide to not be secure and you decide to not be consistent for your avoidant partner, they're going to be freaked out. They're going to be triggered. They're going to be like, great, this is a beautiful opportunity to break away from this relationship and be like, you know what? I can't trust you anymore because you're not consistent. I don't know when you're going to show up, or I don't know how you're going to behave. So I'm just going to break away, because again, they could try to control everything in their life, including you. So if you're not showing up in a way that they think they are controlling you, like, oh, I'm going to send you a text, you're always going to respond in this way. If I ask you out on a date, like you're always going to be free, like whatever it is, they know how you're going to behave. They know that you're going to be consistent, but if you're not, all of a sudden they're like, this is too much for me. I'm going to break away from the relationship. Okay. Again, those are deactivating strategies. They're saying like, I am done with this relationship. I can't handle the way that you're acting. Like, so I'm just going to deactivate. I'm going to withdraw because I can't trust you because you're not consistent. That is what the avoidant is thinking. It really doesn't take much for the avoidantly attached partner to deactivate, to withdraw, because again, their happy place, their comfort zone is being by themselves. So if they are by themselves, everything is good and dandy, okay? They don't have to be with you. And I know it's like you want to be with them no matter what. Like literally through thick and thin, you want to be with them. But the thing is, it's scary for them to trust others. It's scary for them to open up, be vulnerable. We've talked about this in so many other episodes, but it is so important to understand like their blueprint and where like their upbringing that really has shaped the way that they see the world and how they have formed relationships. Okay, so when they were younger, again, their caretakers did not give them enough emotional support or meet their needs, and so as a result they had to learn how to become self-reliant. They learned this subconscious pattern to take care of themselves, to rely on themselves, and that was how they would survive. And so when they jump into romantic relationships, those subconscious subconscious patterns start to kick in and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to rely on someone else. I've only ever relied on myself. Does that make sense? That's why if you are consistent, it makes them feel somewhat safe and it makes them feel like they can open up a little. They are really used to being in intrapersonal relationships, which means being in a relationship with yourself, like leaning on yourself 100%. Okay. Now, a healthy relationship would mean you are in an interpersonal relationship, which means you have a healthy relationship dynamic that involves two different partners and both partners are leaning on each other in a healthy way. Okay. That is something that you will strive for if you are in a secure relationship, okay, where you feel secure in your partner and in yourself. And in order to feel that level of secureness and happiness is to be consistent, okay? Again, that's what the avoidant is looking for. And one thing to note as well, when you are in a relationship with an avoidant, you might feel like they're not necessarily meeting all of your needs. Like you want to see them more often, or you feel like they're just like all by themselves all the time. And you're like, do they like me? Like what's going on? What you really need to do when you're in a relationship with an avoidant is vocalize your needs, but try not to come across as too like needy or like overwhelming. Like I need this, and from you. Try not to come across as like too aggressive with it. Like, here's my laundry list of needs that I need you to give to me. Like, I need you to be with me more often. I need you to love me more often. All these things are going to overwhelm the avoidantly attached person, which we'll get into that. It is critical to be very direct about what you need from your avoidant partner in order for you to be happy, because they will meet your needs if they love you, if they want to be with you. But if you don't vocalize them at all, then they're never going to meet your needs, if that makes sense. I'm going to make a whole nother episode on meeting your needs in a relationship, like vocalizing needs and like direct communication, which is a really important element of any healthy relationship. The next thing that an avoidantly attached person absolutely needs and wants in a relationship is personal space and alone time. An avoidantly attached person, as we know, love to be independent, love to be by themselves. And if you do not give them space as their partner, they will feel like you are just very needy, okay? They will feel so overwhelmed that you have taken up their entire schedule, that they have absolutely no time to be by themselves, okay? They will feel like you were asking them for way too much and that you're being like demanding almost. And it's like they just want to leave the situation. Like, I don't even have to be here. I feel so overwhelmed. I'm just going to leave. Okay. That's how they are feeling. Even like, let's say you ask them like, I just want to text you a little bit more. I want to see like what's going on in your day. Like, we don't see each other all week and I just want to like hear from you. If you ask them that, they are going to feel super overwhelmed. So it's critical to respect their space, and it's critical to give them that personal space and that alone time. Because avoidantly attached people thrive when they are by themselves, because they learn that self-reliance and autonomy are both considered a survival mechanism. So when you, as their partner, are not self-reliant and need the avoidantly attached person in order to function or survive or just like be happy, then they start to deactivate and pull away, because they're just like, you're all up in my space. Like, you're taking all my time. You're so obsessed with me. Like, get away. They start to push away. They start to deactivate and withdraw from the relationship. Okay. Giving them space is going to be super important, because they will respect you then, because you're respecting them, if that makes sense. I do want to talk about the fact that there are two different types of avoidantly attached people, though. We haven't really gotten into this in some of the other episodes, but there's a dismissive avoidant and then there's a disorganized avoidant. And depending on which type of avoidant attachment your partner has, will be indicative of how much space you give them and also like why they are avoidantly attached. People who are dismissive avoidant often experience a childhood that was marked by neglect, rejection, a lack of warmth, and strictness, okay? They might have experienced a lot of high expectations and had to mature quickly, okay? And so that resulted in them being very independent at a very young age. So I know for me, like my ex who was avoidantly attached definitely was more in the dismissive avoidant range, because I think when he was growing up, his parents definitely made him do his own thing, make his own money, and just be super successful, just like his parents were. I know he like got into investment banking and just like really put his head down to climb the ranks, and then he knew that wasn't exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted more freedom. He wanted to make all this money and like blah, blah, blah. But it was all because his parents were so strict and they encouraged him to be super successful, which again, a lot of these things are not super negative. It's just like one way to raise a child, but at the same time, without that level of warmth, without that level of like, it's okay to fail, like we've got you no matter what, it makes the child think, okay, I'm in this on my own and I have to support myself and I have to do this in order to survive. So it's like you X out everyone else in your life and you're like, put your head down, I need to survive. If I don't do this, I'm gonna die. Like that's literally the mindset, okay? Let's look at the disorganized avoidant. The disorganized avoidant pattern often develops from a closely entangled relationship with unclear boundaries and caretakers who are very intimidating, okay? So in this situation, the avoidant person has to take on a lot of caregiving responsibilities and frequently withdrew or disappeared to cope and survive. So if they had to step up and literally be the caretaker or, you know, be the breadwinner for the family or like clean everything up like all the time and then take care of the parents because maybe they were drunk or whatever, just never really around, they had to show up in those ways and become the caretaker, which is a huge role to take on. So that's why they feel like when they're in a relationship with you, it's like this is too much. What they did when they were younger was just disappear and do their own thing. And they did that to cope. That was their coping mechanism, disappearing and returning. So if they did that when they were younger, they're also doing that with you in their adult relationships because they're triggered. It's like, I'm taking care of you, I'm being your caretaker. But then all of a sudden, they're pulling away because they always did that. That's like, it's nothing new to them. But for you, it's like, what the hell? We're in a relationship. Why are you disappearing all the time, right? That is why they genuinely, like, they desperately need their alone time. They need to be in their own personal energy because that's all they know. And they need that just to like energize themselves and then they can always come back. It's just good to understand where your partner is and understand their attachment style so you can meet them in the middle and hopefully become secure together. Depending on which type of avoidant attachment your partner has, the childhood that your avoidant partner had basically taught them that in order to feel a connection with other people, like in a romantic sense, they will have to sacrifice their loss of self, okay? Because in their eyes, being connected to someone else and feeling that like really intense, like I might love this person connection is very unsafe to them. They're just being so vulnerable. And it's just like, if you say I love you to someone else and they don't say it back to you, it's like, well, holy shit, I just opened myself up in a way I never have before. I'm going to go back into my little like, you know, shell and protect myself and just never come back out again. If they do open up and if they do share like, this is the way I feel like I want to connect with this person, then all of a sudden they feel like they have lost who they are because at their core, they are an independent person. They are a self-reliant person. They do everything on their own. But now all of a sudden they're opening up and they're saying, I want to be with this other person. I want to fall in love with this other person. Well, then their identity is gone. It's vanished because they are now opening up to another person. Does that make sense? They realize that, okay, like the cost of connection, the cost of like falling in love with someone is way too high. And so they just choose to be by themselves and be self-reliant and have a very high sense of self instead of being in a relationship. Because again, it feels safer, it's more comfortable, and they like it that way, okay? Over time, the pendulum moves in favor of yearning for connection though. That's why they typically come back and send you a text or try to like reconnect or like your story. When this happens, they are trying to seek balance in their life. They're trying to be independent and have a connection with you and also keep and maintain their sense of self, but also have a connection and also maybe fall in love. But it's really scary for them to open up 100% and say like, I want this full connection, okay? So this is why they crave space in a relationship because they're trying to create that balance and not lose who they are at their core. If you're trying to make your avoidantly attached person happy, then give them space, respect their space, and try to find a middle ground. Another thing that an avoidantly attached person absolutely desires in a relationship is genuine support, okay? And I feel like this is an important quality in any relationship, no matter what your attachment style is, but it's particularly very important for an avoidantly attached person. Avoidantly attached people seek a partner who is consistently there for them and is offering advice to help them navigate through life's challenges and also enhance their well-being, okay? And I think that's a perfect definition of a great partner that's always there for you. Like consistency, like we already talked about, is very important, but also someone that sees the world the way that you see the world and is helping you make the right decisions, and standing by your side when life gets hard. You can't really fight that, you know what I mean? The one caveat I'd like to mention though is it's important not to come across as too controlling or too critical of your avoidantly attached partner's challenges or decisions or life struggles or whatever, because they value your support without feeling any sort of judgment or feeling like they're being manipulated by you. So if they decide to open up and are like, listen, like work is getting really hard and like I just don't like my boss and I'm thinking about quitting and doing this, and you're over here like, what the hell? Like that's the stupidest idea. Like your boss is actually nice to you. What are you talking about? Like you're crazy. I hope you wouldn't say that, but in their mind, they're just like, oh my God, like I just opened up and now I feel like you're judging me for a decision I'm making. I never open up to anyone and share what's going on or like what my thought process is. And the one time I do, you just totally knocked me down. And you're saying like, I'm stupid. So like, I feel judged. Okay. And then if you start to manipulate them in a way as well, and you're like, well, maybe you should do this and maybe you should do that, then they're going to feel like they're being used. And it's scary for them. Again, vulnerability is very hard for them. Okay. They're going to like close up, withdraw, and back out of the relationship. So what they're looking for is genuine support. They just want to feel like they're not alone in this world. Okay. They want you to show up for them in their lives and help meet their needs. And they won't always tell you exactly what they need verbally, which is something you can work on with them if you both want to become securely attached. But they just want to know that you're not controlling their world. You're just there with them in their world and right by their side, no matter what, that sort of thing. That's what they're looking for. And that will make them feel safe and secure. I don't know if you've caught on to the trend, or typically when a relationship works out long term, both partners feel safe and secure in the relationship. They know they can rely on their partner 100% of the time. There's mutual respect. There's mutual trust. There is a sense of love. All of those things make for the perfect relationship to last long term. So technically, that is what the avoidantly attached person is crying out for. They're like, I want to be secure. I just am terrified. Same thing with the anxiously attached person as well. It's just sometimes both attachment styles don't know how to verbally say that, which communication plays a big role in any healthy relationship, which we'll get into that in another episode. If they sense any level of criticism from you when they start to open up and ask for your support or for your opinion, they will immediately withdraw, okay? That is because they have a very low tolerance for negativity and interference, okay? Like I said, they're not used to letting other people in and asking for their advice or for their help, okay? They also do not like conflict. Any sort of conflict in a relationship is a big no-no from the avoidantly attached person. So, like, if you run into a relationship conflict, instead of working things out, they're just going to be like, I'm out. Like, I don't even want to deal with this. This is too much for me. I'm out of here. Okay. Because conflict means you have to open up and be vulnerable and share like, well, this is how I feel. Like, can we change something, or can you change something that you're doing so that I feel more comfortable? They don't want to do that because you have to be vulnerable in order to share how you're feeling. Okay. It's ironic because avoidantly attached people are always seeking out genuine support from their partner, and they want to feel like they're not alone in this world, and they don't want anyone to criticize their decisions, but they feel like they can say that to you whenever they want. So it's almost like they're mirroring their fear onto themselves. For example, when I was in a relationship with an avoidantly attached person, I remember this guy would tell me all the time how I should be less afraid of life and I should find another job because I was like very unhappy at that point in time. And he was always criticizing my life situation and kind of like pushing me in the direction of take the chance, like quit your job or like do something different, like stop being so sad. It almost felt like he was never super impressed with my life situation. I have a personality, I was very anxiously attached at the time, where I was like, you know what, maybe you're right. Like if I change who I am because this is how he wants me to be, then maybe he will like me more. Because I always felt like he was slowly pulling away a little bit. So I was like, I'll change who I am. But again, it's interesting because he was criticizing and kind of controlling me. But if I ever did that to him, he would absolutely freak out and withdraw, like almost instantly. Okay. So like I said, avoidants do not like to be criticized or controlled, but they can do that to you any day of the week. Avoidants, again, they also just want unconditional love and support and encouragement. That's what I mean by genuine support. Okay, so for example, I remember when I was still in contact with my avoidant ex after he broke up with me and continuously contacted me, and like I did too, to be honest, because I couldn't let go and I was in the middle of that anxious avoidant trap. If you're interested in learning more on that, listen to episode 1. But I remember there was one time when he actually did open up and share a little bit about the fact that he finally exited this position at a company, got his equity, left, and he was like, he did not like the job at all. But when he left that position, he was like, he felt very suffocated and overwhelmed by the job. But when he left the position, he was so excited to be done. And he shared that with me. He always told me, like, just go after what you want, like leave the things you don't like, and like controlling and kind of criticizing and saying like what I should do. And then he finally opened up and shared that about him. And my response was like, I am so proud of you. Like, that's really impressive that you could complete something like that at your age. Like, congratulations. And that was genuine. Like, I was literally like, dang, this guy's like, it's pretty impressive. And he liked that and opened up even more. Okay, granted, we weren't dating at this time at all. But that's the thing with avoidantly attached people. They're looking for people that they can really feel that support from. And he knew it's like, how I would respond would be the same way I've always responded. Like, if he ever sent me a text, I'd always be there. It's that level of consistency, okay? So the thing is though, like, the relationship was over. It was way too late. Like, I didn't want to even like put the relationship back together at that point in time. But it's important to know they do like it when they feel like they're 100% supported, okay? And one other caveat from that, if you are going through a breakup right now with an avoidantly attached person, just know that the way that they showed up in your life and the way that they like triggered you or like pushed you around in an uncomfortable way is really going to show you your blind spot. They're going to show you different areas in which you can improve and become the best version of you. So I'm always thankful for any of the bad things that happened to me in my life, because they always show me a beautiful learning lesson on the other side. Okay. Like, I've created this entire relationship coaching business based on that guy that broke my heart. Like, if he didn't break my heart, I would have never felt the urge or desire to create this podcast, to create my YouTube channel, to create my TikTok, like, and reach hundreds of thousands of people. So everything happens for a reason. And I know it hurts like hell, but just remember you're learning something really deep. And sometimes the learning lesson doesn't pop up right away. In short, the avoidantly attached person really just wants to feel understood. They want to feel like whatever decision they make in life, that they're backed up by someone, and that there will be no consequences as a result of sharing their decision or sharing their story or sharing their conflict that they're trying to find a solution for, okay? Anyway, if you can give your partner that support and make them feel like they are $1 million, because they are, hopefully if you're in a relationship with them, then that's going to be really good. For the avoidantly attached person, and also if you're working towards being securely attached, that's also going to help your relationship long term. The other thing that avoidantly attached people are looking for in their relationship is to feel safe, to have a safe relationship dynamic, okay? So avoidantly attached people do not like asking anybody for anything, okay? They've always been 100% self-reliant since a child. And so why would things change right now? Because they're an adult, okay? I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but when you were dating your avoidant partner or your ex, or like if you're currently dating one right now, do they ever ask you like, hey, can you do me a favor? Or like, hey, can you do this one thing for me? Probably not. They're always either like giving because they want you to do something, or they're just like, they just want to be with you essentially, which is ironic because if you're anxiously attached, then you also just want to be with them, but then they're not always there. They're like hot, cold, hot, cold. And they do that because they need their independence to feel safe. In order for the relationship to deepen further and to last long-term and just be fulfilling on both sides, both partners must become vulnerable and intimate. Like, you need to share the deepest parts of yourself. You need to share your fears, your dreams, like everything with your partner. You need to be, and like a level of intimacy is very important, as physical intimacy, like all of the above, right? That is how you build trust with your partner as well. So both of those concepts, though, again, being vulnerable and intimate, are incredibly terrifying for the avoidantly attached partner, okay? So it is critical for you as the partner of the avoidantly attached person to make them feel incredibly safe and secure, okay, for being vulnerable and opening up. So if they choose to open up, if they choose to be like, I want to show you a part of me I've never showed anyone else, or I want to do something with you that I've never done with anyone else, like that's huge, okay? You need to make them feel safe and secure and like validate the fact that they made that decision for you, okay? And I know it's like, what the hell? Like, I'm not like, this is stupid. I'm not going to do this. If that's how you feel, then maybe don't be in a relationship with an avoidantly attached person, okay? It's very fragile. Like the thing is, avoidantly attached people, like once you crack their shell and really get to the center of who they are, they're very gentle, loving people. They're fragile. They're very, very fragile on the inside, but they build these thick walls around them with so much protection that they don't have to rely on anyone but themselves. But when you crack down those walls, like they're amazing, amazing people. They just want to feel safe. And so if you can create that dynamic in your relationship, that's going to be amazing for the success of your relationship. But if they do not feel safe, or if they feel like you're making fun of them or judging them, again, they're going to withdraw and they're going to deactivate almost instantly. And it doesn't take long, like I said, for an avoidantly attached person to deactivate, because they're like, well, that's okay. Like you can act that way. Like you can make me feel like shit. You can pull away, you can judge me, whatever. I'm going to go over here because I'd much rather be over here anyway. Like this was already outside my comfort zone. So I'm going to go into my comfort zone now, which is being by themselves. Okay. Create that safe dynamic. And ways you can do that is, if they open up and say like, I want to do this one thing with you, you can say like, that's amazing. Like I want to do this one thing with you too. And almost make them feel like, I want to do this too. I am here with you. I am here to support you. The next thing that the avoidantly attached partner absolutely wants and needs in an ideal relationship is to feel like they are unconditionally loved by you. They just want to feel accepted for who they are without any judgment whatsoever, okay? Because again, when they were a child, their emotional needs were not met by their caretakers, by their parents, by their friends, like whatever it was. They felt like there was something wrong with them. And so because there is something wrong with them, they have to take care of themselves. They have to show up for themselves in order to survive. It's kind of sad to think about it like that. Like think about being 7 years old and it's like, dang, there's something wrong with me. Everyone else is like loved by their parents or friends or whatever, but like I don't have that. So there's something wrong with me and I need to take care of myself because there's something wrong with me. Like I'm like that odd one out, essentially. Like that's their mindset. And so when you hurt their feelings, or if you judge them for like sharing their dreams, or just like put them down in any way, they're going to be sent right back into their like childhood self. They're going to be triggered and feel like there's something wrong with me. This person is validating the fact there's something wrong with me. And they're triggered and you're activating their attachment style. And when that happens, you're triggering a deep core wound, something that they might not even realize is there and might not have healed. They definitely have not healed that wound. It's uncomfortable. They don't want to uncover that wound and like figure out what the hell is going on. So they just say, I'm done. I'm going to pull away. I'm going to deactivate myself from this relationship. Goodbye. Okay. Again, it's so much easier to just leave the situation than actually solve the problem. It works like this. All right. If they hear criticism in any way, shape, or form, even if it was a joke that you threw onto them and they don't receive it as a joke, they're going to shut down immediately because it's like, holy shit, like something just happened. Their internal system is going to go right back to when they were a child and they're going to be like, this is too much. They're going to withdraw. They're going to not be vulnerable whatsoever. And then they just break up with you because it's too much. Okay. If you make them feel like they are loved no matter what, they're loved for who they are, you don't judge them one bit. You just shower them with like, I love you and I love the way you are. You're perfect the way you are. Like whatever you want to say to them, when you make them feel that way, verbally, physically, whatever, they will feel safe with you. Okay. And like, again, that is kind of the key with all these things, to make yourself feel safe and secure in the relationship. If you do personal and thoughtful things for your avoidant partner, they will analyze the nice deed that you do for them as, okay, they are trying to take care of me. Okay, they love me. Okay, I feel like I'm supported. Okay, like, so for example, maybe you could cook them like a very nice meal or something like that, okay? Or write them a very nice note from your heart, like, this is the way I feel about you, or like, this is my favorite memory of us, like, I'm so happy you're in my life, etc. Or you could recreate their favorite memory. So like, ask them like, what's the happiest moment in your life or whatever, and you can try to recreate that for them. Something that's very personal that not just anyone can do. As the avoidant person, they're so used to giving to others or just taking care of themselves. They're not so used to receiving, okay? And so it feels really good for the avoidant partner to be pampered, to be taken care of. I know the guy that I was dating who was avoidantly attached, he always did so much for me, so much. Like, he took me to all these nice restaurants, and he'd always like send me desserts to my apartment, and like, it was kind of exciting because like, I'd open the door and it would be like a nice like gooey butter cake from like Mastro's, or a chocolate gold cake or whatever from like RPM Seafood. Just like little things like that, just to like brighten my day and stuff. And he did this a lot towards the end too, right before he broke up with me. And so I was so confused. I'm like, why are you still sending desserts to my apartment when like you literally broke up with me like the next day? But he did it because it's easy to give, and he obviously felt some sort of connection. So typically that's what avoidants do. Like, they love to give. They want to make you happy, but it's scary. It's like, what he did for me was probably like really hard, and opening up in the way that he did was probably incredibly hard. And again, I wasn't aware of any of this stuff. I was just like, dessert? This is great. And I just wanted to see more of him. But again, that pushed him away because I wasn't giving him the personal space, okay? But I was consistent with him. I always texted him back. I always wanted to talk to him. I gave him unconditional love. I wrote him lots of notes. I gave him little like gifts and recreated his favorite memory. Like, I did all the things. Sometimes, I just want to point out there, sometimes the timing just isn't right too. The avoidantly attached person has to be ready to open up. They have to make that decision that they want to let go of a little bit of control. They want to feel the connection. And so they are okay with sacrificing some of their identity. It can feel like you're losing yourself when you're falling in love, but really you're just trusting someone else. And sometimes trusting someone else can be incredibly scary if you've only ever trusted yourself and relied on yourself, okay? Those are all the things that avoidantly attached people are looking for in a relationship. And those are the things they want and need in order to be happy in a relationship. After listening to all those qualities, say you're anxiously attached, okay, and you want your relationship to work out with your avoidant partner. And after learning about all these qualities, you're probably like, what do I do? Do I just apply all these things like tomorrow? What I would suggest is to take these steps, okay? Number 1, make sure you and your partner feel safe when you are together, okay? You want to make sure your avoidant partner feels safe to rely on you and give up a little bit of that self-reliance and start to lean towards you. Remember, you need an interpersonal relationship, which means you're leaning on both yourself and your partner. Right now, your avoidant partner is leaning 100% on themselves, which means they're in an intrapersonal relationship. So it's so important to teach your avoidant partner that it's okay to lean on me. It's okay. I will keep you safe. That is going to be like the first step, okay? I wouldn't say that verbally because you're probably going to like freak them out and overwhelm them. They'll like withdraw. But if you want another podcast episode about how to make your avoidant partner feel safe, I can do that as well. The next step you can take is make sure that your avoidant partner feels safe enough to be vulnerable with you, to be intimate with you, okay? Because remember, when you win their trust, you also win their heart. It's almost like if you get one, you get both. So really try to create that safe environment. And the next thing is make sure you voice your needs and desires to your avoidant partner. Because if you want the relationship to work out, yes, you can give your avoidant partner all the things they need, but what about you? Because if you're anxiously attached, you're probably just so used to being the people pleaser and making sure that your partner is happy so that they don't leave you, because your biggest fear is rejection or being dropped, okay? Long term though, you're gonna feel like, okay, I've given you everything. I'm making sure you're super happy. What about me? Okay, so if you want the relationship to work out, yes, give your partner what they need, but also voice your needs and desires to your partner. The best thing to do is share that with your partner, but not all at once. Try not to overwhelm them with your needs, but share what they can do for you in order to feel safe and secure. Because if you're making them feel safe and secure, hopefully they can do that for you as well. Remember, they can't read your mind and change their patterning without you sharing your needs first. They will definitely not be used to having a conversation of like, I need you to do X, Y, Z, because they're going to be like, what do you mean? Like, that's way too aggressive. Like, you're so needy. Oh my God. It has to come across in a different way. It's almost like an art. Okay. Again, if you want another video about how to do that, how to voice your needs and desires to your avoidant ex or to your avoidant partner, I should say, I'll make another episode on that. If you are interested in transforming your attachment style from anxious to secure, please feel free to apply to my 90-day accelerator program. In this program, I will help you to understand where your attachment style comes from and how it affects you. So all of those learned patterns that you have picked up since you were a kid. We'll work together on boosting your self-confidence, which will free you from feeling too attached to your past relationships or to certain people like the ex that you're thinking about right now. I'll also guide you in developing a more secure attachment style to build long-lasting, loving relationships, whether that's with your ex that you keep on thinking about or with someone new. Please feel free to apply down below, and I look forward to working with you. It's going to be a really exciting 90 days, all right? As a reminder, there are new episodes every single Sunday, and if you like this sort of content, please check out my YouTube channel and TikTok, which are both under the name Natalie Louise, okay? That is it for today, you guys. I love you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.